9 most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
The good news is those principles are timeless, they work, and if they're applied again, they will unleash a boom that will benefit all Americans.
So, where are we?
Well, we detected 5 quakes in the last month on Mars. Well, after shaker number 4, their comms went quiet.
So, what's our mission?
Peace through strength. We make that possible.
And we'll do the same for space.
Exactly.
Richard, where are we today?
We are at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in the Reagan Leadership Center in the Oval Office.
What made you interested in using a story-based approach to teaching economics?
I joined here in January of 2024, and we had a Reaganomics curriculum. I would ask this question, who's using it? And nobody could really tell me. I also thought, wouldn't it be great if it was something people would watch to be entertained? I just know that the story of Ronald Reagan's economic theory as told by Arthur Laffer and others, it's amazing story of hope and optimism and making America great again. Why not tell that story somehow so people can learn about it? One of the hallmarks of his presidency, that time period, is that there was this collaboration around good ideas. Entrepreneurs, there's millions of ideas. Without Ronald Reagan and his presidency and establishing trust in the equity markets and having essentially a runway of prosperity, and I don't think that would have happened as much as it did. The tech boom, right? Even the government's actions in terms of space and things like that wouldn't have happened as quickly as they did without Ronald Reagan's presidency.
So to make a very technical point on this character, he's building a successful company, but he's in an environment where there's too much regulation. Investors in his company don't see a high upside. And so as a result, even though he's building a world-changing innovation, by the end, he owns very little of it. And so this gets to the point about incentives, because that regulatory structure in Europe is a disincentive for him to try something again there. And instead, what does he do?
Comes here.
Yeah.
The government has a role to play in terms of innovation and first steps into something. If you have the right parts of regulation and innovation and capital and this idea that we could create a better place. It's an amazing story. The story for me is so needed in schools. We don't teach that to kids, or the notion that people can take ideas that they foster and actively share them and look to develop them into something that not just make money, make the world a better place, make things easier. It's a story of America.
The strategic reason that there's such urgency from the US government to basically colonize Mars is we don't want the Russians and Chinese to do it. So there's 2 reasons. One is it's a defense thing, a base, when they use that as a military thing. And the other is just a pride thing.
I think one of the things that resonates with me whenever I think about the story itself, again, to go back to the characters, right? The characters are what makes the story so relatable. The characters and the common everyday things they experience and the problems they have.
One thing that could be done is totally change the way the government operates. Another thing that could be done is for the government to do less and the private sector to do more. And especially when you think about what this story is really about. What do you think President Reagan would think of this story?
The reason why Ronald Reagan was so successful in my mind is that he had this innate ability to tell a story, to share a real life scenario, to make the complex seem very simple. What better way to tell a very complex set of interactions of different parts of economics than through a story? But the execution of it, working together, has made it even more of a joy because there's a lot of pride and satisfaction in the fact that, I totally can see that now.
And that's about all I have to say tonight, except for one thing. The past few days when I've been at that window upstairs, I've thought a bit of the shining city upon a hill. I've spoken of the shining city all my political life, but I don't know if I ever quite communicated what I saw when I said it. But in my mind, it was a tall, proud city built on rocks stronger than oceans, windswept, God-blessed, and teeming with people of all kinds living in harmony and peace. A city with free ports that hummed with commerce and creativity. That's how I saw it and see it still.